to another episode of Comics and Tortillas, where we talk about comic news and some books we read this week. I'm your host, Adam, and my co-host, Hector. How are you doing this week, Hector?
Hey, guys. I'm all right.
Doing good? Feeling better?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I think February, sick February is behind us, I hope.
I hope.
And we got some good comic news and some books we're going to go over today. Before that, I'm trying to think of anything exciting happened to me this week. Not really. Just the kids are my work's killing me. That's about it. Just tired. We have my boss has made us do these Olympics type thing for PE. So we're getting that ready in the next 2 weeks. We'll be having our school Olympics, first time ever. So it's kind of stressful, but the kids love it. So
wow.
Top 3 push-ups, top 3 sit-ups, and top 3 mile run and cornhole.
Do they actually make an attempt to work out in advance to it, or do they just like go by the seat of their pants? The kids.
We have some kids that are excited about it, and then it's elementary PE. It's first grade through 8th grade PE. Mm-hmm. So you have the kids that don't want to do anything, just kind of want to walk and talk to the friends, but we do have quite a few that are actually into it. So
in it to win it.
The cornhole is a really good option for kids that can't really, some kids don't run the mile of the fastest or can't really do push-ups, as many as other kids, but they can throw a beanbag into a hole.
They have hand dexterity.
So it's funny because I have some kids that, like I said before, would never be in an event, but they can do this, and so it was really cool to see that. Give some of these other kids
a confidence, chance to be involved.
Yeah, be a chance to be involved. So that was fun. It's coming up in a couple weeks, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. But
right on.
Anyhow, do you have anything you want to share, or you just want to go straight into news?
Nah, let's go straight into it.
Okay, so we're going on some CBR.com, and doing some of the highlights here. We got Sleeping Beauty's Maleficent gets a Disney solo series, and this is something that I think Margot would actually read because this is one of her favorite villains of Disney of all time. Yeah, she has like earrings, she has a Starbucks cup, she has everything. She loves this character. The only thing that I can see that scares me, it is done by Dynamite Entertainment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I'm a little scared about.
Concerned about.
Yeah, concerned about, because Dynamite, they do a lot of those vampire books and stuff. So nothing really, in my opinion, I don't read a lot of Dynamite. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. I just don't read a lot of it. And I'm looking at some of the covers.
The covers look good.
The covers do look good. It looks really good. So I'll read it and I'll introduce it to my wife because she loves that character.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to come out sometime in a couple months.
It says here that Dynamite is also putting a spotlight on the Lion King Scar.
Ooh, so we're doing all villains here, huh?
In February 2023.
Oh, February? Wait, February?
Yeah, Maleficent is launching on May 2023 from writer and artist Sue Lee. And then down at the bottom of that, it says in February 2023, Dynamite announced a separate... Oh, this is when they announced it. A separate Disney villain Scar solo based on the antagonist from The Lion King was launching in April 2023.
I don't think I've ever heard of Sue Lee, but I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but they are writing and drawing it, so... Very cool.
I'm looking it up. It's a woman.
It's a woman. So she's writing and drawing it. So
freelance comic book creator and illustrator living in New York City.
Cool.
Her art looks very, very city draw.
Okay.
So I don't know. It could go either way. I'm not sure. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and then scrolling down, we got Supergirl gets a dazzling costume change of her Power Girl team up, and I'm looking at her new outfit, and I don't know I don't know. I think of Disney princess outfit compared to her other one. I don't know what's going on here.
It doesn't look very practical at all.
No, I don't like it, and I wonder if they change it because Power Girl's old outfit was very revealing.
Well, it had that window, which made no sense.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind that window, but that's okay. That's just me.
Actually, the one with the blue is not Power Girl. It looks like the one that's no. If you look at the multiple panels, there's another girl that's in the image with her, and she's wearing an all white long. Yeah, it's an all white long jumpsuit. Has like this V gold thing that she had before on her waist. And then it looks like she's got like a bolero jacket over her.
So we're doing a lot more covering up, which is fine. That's good.
Oh, she's completely covered up, but she also doesn't look very curvy or muscular at all. She looks like just a teenage kid. So
yay or nay?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm gonna go nay. I'm gonna go nay on this one. That's okay. It's all right.
I kind of like. I have seen some other people who have drawn her to be very muscular, and I think that if she's going to be as strong as the other super characters, then she should be. You know, maybe make her look more athletic, and this one does not look like that at all. Mm-hmm. She looks pretty much like a plain kid in an outfit. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Again, nay. But anyhow, we're gonna go with our next topic. Joe Mad's Battle Chaser comic returns with a new story in mid 2023, and man, this is a long time coming.
So you said that was in 1998 was the last time he did his series?
Yeah, so he banged out X-Men books in the 90s. He drew Wolverine, Sabretooth. He drew these X-Men, Uncanny X-Men so well. One of my favorite artists in the 90s. I love this guy. He came out with his own comic book, Battle Chasers. He was always late. There were, a couple months, number 3 would come out, another couple months, number 4, and then 1 month 5. Very inconsistent. And then it hit on 9. And it was in mid-story, bro. Like, mid-story, he dumped it. And he started doing video games. He started making video games, all the Darksider stuff. And he really never touched on comics again.
His artwork looks, the artwork that he has in here reminds me a lot of the Street Fighter stuff that came out at one point.
Yeah, he has a very unique style, and when you see his style, you know it's him.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Joe Mad's comic. And, it's a funny story. I went to Comic-Con years back, and he was going to be there, and I was looking for him. I couldn't find him, and me and Margot were walking the artist alley. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, where is he? Where? And I walked right past him.
Oh, really?
Marco's all like, "Hey, isn't that the guy you were looking for, like Joe Mad?" I'm like, "What? No, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for like a giant table, or a big table with everything shown of his art, big sign. You know how artists have it in the artist alley.
Yeah,
I'm looking for a giant line of people, and he had the smallest table with like a couple prints for sale, and there was nobody there. There was like one guy there talking to him.
What the heck?
And I was like, what is going on here? No way. It is Joe Mad, though. So, and I'm standing there waiting to talk to him, and the guy that was talking to him, I remember it was very awkward. Like, this guy, I don't know if he was a promoter or a comic book store owner, because he kept trying to push Joe Mad to like come to his his hometown. I swear I was listening to this whole thing, and he was like, "Oh, I'll pay for your room and board. I have an extra room," and it was just weird.
Wow.
It was weird, and you can see Joe Mad's face, like, nah, email me, and we'll go from there. And it was very awkward. and he kept trying to get Joe Mad to draw him something, and he said, "I'm not drawing anything. I'm not doing any commissions. I'm just." Here hanging out, selling a couple prints. I'll sign some stuff, but that's pretty much it. And he wasn't even charging for signing.
Wow.
And I was very surprised. But I did buy a print. I bought a Spider-Man print with Wolverine, and he had already signed it and talked to him for a little bit, which was really cool. I mean, this guy was like one of my, heroes. Like, not hero. Yeah, I guess I would say hero. Like, I love this guy's stuff, like Jim Lee stuff, but I this guy was it for me. A lot of people love Jim Lee, a lot of people like McFarlane, or all these other guys.
Right, they got their artist.
This guy was it. And it was really cool. But I'm very happy to see it come out. I won't hold my breath.
What do you mean you won't hold your breath? Oh, you mean for it to come out?
Yeah, for it to come on time.
Well, the first one's going to come out probably on time, no problem. It's what happens after that is the question.
Yeah, I'm looking at it because if you scroll down on CBR, you can see some of the art from number 10, and you can tell his art has changed a bit. He still draws the same kind of eyes and the hair, the faces, but it seems more. This seems more not pencil, but more graphic, like computer drawing. You know what I mean? Drawing on a.
Was he originally just doing black and white pencils?
He used to just do pencils, but now he's a big time graphic designer doing video games. And I kind of feel like this comic book is more. The pictures I'm seeing are more of an iPad or like one of those pads they draw on now.
Wacom's, yeah.
Yeah, it's still good, but it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem very crisp as like before. I wonder if he's writing it too.
It doesn't have back edging. If you look at page 6, if you look at the character that's in the air, one of them, he's throwing knives, and there's no like solid line around the character because he's over 2 panels, and because he's part of the top panel and the middle and the second panel, and he's throwing knives. That Joker looking guy. He should have like a thick black line around him where the top part meets the top of the first panel. So it tells me that he's probably not used to using a pad.
Oh, okay. Well, I might be wrong. It just seems a little. I don't know.
But I agree. This does look like digital art.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. It just seems different.
Oh, it's good. It's good art. It's just I can tell that he hasn't done any extra lining on some of the series. It's good. It's good stuff though.
Very cool stuff.
Very stylized.
What else was I looking at? Exclusively, Marvel reveals first detail on why Spider-Man and Mary Jane break up. They've been teasing at this for 20 issues.
Yeah.
Of this, and it's finally this arc in 21 is finally gonna explain it. I do have a review on Spider-Man 20 later in the show, and I'll give my 2 cents on what I thought of that and what's happening here with Amazing Spider-Man. So excited for that. So I think that's all the news I have. Do you have anything else?
No, I was pretty much letting you take this one today.
Very cool. Yeah. Let's see. I think that's all I got. Bands Uncle Scrooge comics prices spike in price.
Oh, I do know that Star Trek Discovery is ending this season 5. This is the final season. They're not going to be doing any more of that.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of dipped out of, I think it was season 3. They go like 200 years in the future, and I just kind of didn't really like the storyline the way it was going, so I jumped out of it. So, but Captain Pike still has the Enterprise, and they did their own series with him called Strange New Worlds, and I'm really loving that. I just couldn't handle Discovery anymore. It was just too many constant explosions and not enough story. It's just a lot of. It was like a Michael Bay movie over and over again. So I got tired of it. I'm just like, nah, I don't need to see this anymore.
Right. Are we talking about the TV show or?
Yeah, Star Trek Discovery is on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Yeah, and also this last season of Picard is going to be it. That'll be the last. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of Picard yet, but I was planning on basically once I was done with Strange New Worlds that I would jump over there. I just finished The Witcher, and it's kind of disappointed the way that one ended. I don't know. It didn't go the series of the series didn't follow the books or the video game storyline arc at all, or it kind of loosely did, and then it just kind of did its own thing. And they're saying that they're coming back for another season, but we all know that Henry Cavill isn't coming back, so
yeah,
who knows how that's going to be.
I probably won't watch it. So the spin-off series they came out with, I think it was only like 5 episodes. That one's terrible. I didn't like it.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw a little bit. Margot watched most of it. I stopped watching it, but she enjoyed it. But I thought it was kind of boring. And Henry wasn't in there, and it wasn't even about his character. It was about some other characters.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a prequel.
Yeah, falling in love with I think a human or something like that. I don't know. I didn't like it. As for Picard, I actually did want to see that because back in the 90s, I remember Star Trek with Picard. I don't know the name of that Star Trek with Picard was in. It was
called Star Trek: The Next Generation.
And we watched that a lot. And I remember my dad. We would record it on our VCR.
Yeah, we did the same thing.
The same thing. Yeah. And my dad was really into it, and then kind of dropped off of it, and then they came out with all these other Star Trek stuff, and I just it wasn't the same. I think I was watching the one with the guy from Quantum Sleep. I don't know his name.
Enterprise. That's the name of that one, and now it's Scott Bakula.
Yeah. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, there was a point where everything was on Netflix. All the Star Trek stuff was on Netflix before Paramount Plus became available. Mm-hmm. And so I told myself, you know what I'd like to do is I have the option. Why don't I just watch everything in chronological order?
Nice.
So I started with Enterprise first, and then went to the original Star Trek, and then Next Generation, and then Deep Space Nine, and then Voyager. And I couldn't get through Voyager. I really like the captain and some of the ship people. I mean, some of the crew members. But for the most part, the writing just felt really... It felt forced. There was a lot of it that I just didn't like. And I just got to the point where I'm like, you've got this... I felt that Janeway was a very interesting character that had a lot of potential, and she seemed to have a lot of options to go with that you couldn't with the other guys, because we've sold a lot of the male archetypes before. Now we're trying something different. Why don't we see what that's like? And one thing I liked about Sisko was that his in Deep Space Nine was that even though he was a male captain, I mean, he had an African American African, like a black version of a black spin on a storyline, and he was from New Orleans, so I guess he is African American, and so there was that kind of mentality there, and his love of baseball and also love for jazz. And I was hoping that because we got to see a different aspect of what a person could be, that we could see that in Janeway, and I didn't feel that they did that any justice. I believe that we got robbed when it came to that. Yeah.
That's too bad.
The story was very vanilla for me. I didn't really like it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, last piece of news, we got Thor tried to hit She-Hulk up for a booty call.
No, okay. Really?
And She-Hulk number 10, I guess this happens, and they have a panel of She-Hulk coming through the door. It looks like she's been through some kind of fight or something with a bad guy. She lays in bed trying to get some sleep, and she gets a DM from Thor. You up? And he's all, "Can you come over?" And yeah, now I'm telling the doorman to let you in. So there looks like a romance between Thor and She-Hulk. So I may have to read that just to see how these two get along. That's kind of funny. I thought that was funny.
Ugh.
Well, Thor's been around with a lot of women.
Yeah, but Hercules was the one that spent more time being a hoe.
Oh,
yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I think we're gonna go straight into some comic news. No, I'm sorry, we just did comic news. I'm sorry. We're going into some comic reviews.
Right.
And my first one it's going to be a Phantom Road #1 from Image Comics. This is done by Jeff Lemire and artist by Gabriel H. Walter. Yeah. And it's a very Jeff Lemire is a really great writer. He writes a lot of different books from Image and all these other ones, and his books are very interesting. And we get into a truck driver driving through the Midwest. Maybe he always has like this subtle way of like characters. They're like the panels. I know he doesn't draw them, but I think he instructs them to draw in a certain way because they're all kind of in the same kind of like they show the main character's face and different and really kind of like edgy drawing on it. And this gentleman is at a diner. He's just got off from driving the truck for a couple hours, and he's getting some coffee. He goes to the restroom. He meets this weird guy in there, and he's kind of creepy. And the last thing this guy says in the restroom, is, "I'll see you later." And he kind of leaves that weird feeling like, okay, maybe this guy is gonna follow him or whatever. So anyhow, we go on with the story. He's driving at night, and as he's looking through the windshield, he sees his reflection a little bit, and then it turns into his when he was a boy. And so he kind of has like this memory of how bad he had it when he was a kid. It looks like his parents were always fighting. His dad was a trucker, it seemed, and always leaving and taking off. And then it kind of goes. They show a picture of the father, but it looks just like him. And then we get back his reflection looking at himself as he's driving. I don't know if he dozes off. I don't think he does. His car in front of him swerves. It flips over, and there's like this lady sitting outside her car, and it looked like they ran somebody over. So he's asking if she's okay. She's kind of in shock. And there's like this piece of, I don't know how to explain what it is. In the middle of the road, it looks like a rock with like a couple bones sticking out of it. I don't know what it is, but they're all looking at it like, what is going on here? He touches it, and as he touches it, he gets like this weird electric shock, and it jumps into midday. So I don't know if they fell unconscious or anything, but they wake up, and there's this figure in the distance, and this book is kind of spooky type thing, and he goes over there, and it's this faceless phantom, kind of like a zombie or alien type thing, and he's trying to like communicate with it, and it starts yelling at him and grabs at his neck, try to choke him. So they struggle. He punches it in the face. He gets in his truck with the girl that swerved in front of him, and they look from a distance, and there's like all these other phantoms coming towards the truck, and they're freaking out, and they take off. But before they take off, the guy's like, "I have to go back and get that weird thing that was in the road." So like he has this urge, he has to go back and get it. And yeah, it's weird. And then they show a panel of like him grabbing a crowbar, and then like the next panel, all these dead phantoms by the truck.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, so he went to town and he grabbed that piece of, I don't know what artifact. I don't know what the hell it is, but I thought it was a kind of a easy comic to get through, kind of spooky, kind of gives you kind of a weird feeling of what's going on here. I do want to read the next one because I'm interested as to what that piece of artifact was.
Uh-huh.
Does it make phantoms, or are the phantoms coming from that? So I would give it like 3.5 tortillas. I probably will read the second book.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, it sounds like you're interested in the comic, but you only gave it a 3.5. Is there something that was pulling it down?
maybe the art. I'm not. I mean, the art's okay. It works for the story. I don't know.
You weren't
I
100% with it.
too many questions,
Uh-huh.
which is not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of felt not really bored, but just kind of like, oh, okay. Okay, but that the only thing that really interests me was that little thing in the road, and that was pretty much it. Like this guy went destroyed like if you look, I wish I could show you the panel, but there's like 20 phantoms like dead, like
Well,
by the truck, and he just all he had was a crowbar. So
yeah. Makes you
wow.
wonder.
So I mean, he doesn't have superpowers. He's a regular truck driver guy, and went to bat here. So, hey, whatever. I'll read the second one to see what's going on.
All right. Right on. Okay. So my first one I'm going to do is, you know what? I'm going to start bad and then work my way to good. My first one is not a good one. It's called Murder World Game Over #1 by Marvel Comics. The writer is Jim Zub and Ray Fox. Penciler is Lorenzo Tameta. Colors is Matt Mila. Letters is VC's Corey Petit. The actors in this is Arcade, Hydra Agent, Marina Komarova, a paramedic by the name of Alex Benavides, and Black Widow. The premise is the 200 contest, no superpowers competing for $100 million. Nearly all of them are dead. You can see Murder World Avengers 1, Spider-Man #1, Wolverine #1, and Moon Knight #1. A few tried to find Arcade's command center, but the mastermind only tricked them into entering another level of the game. The two remaining contestants, Hydra agent Marina Komarova and former paramedic Alex Benavides, are about to be murdered by an LMD. That's known as an LMD is a life model decoy. So it's not the actual person. They're about to be murdered by an LMD of Moon Knight when the Black Widow, who's been hunting down Arcade, suddenly joined the game and shot a hole through Moon Knight. Salvation has arrived, right? That's the premise. The story: Alex and Marina are fighting their way towards the last section of Arcade's death trap maze. They run into an LMD of Moon Knight, but are saved by Black Widow. We get to see a little background of Alex before being brought back into the game, and they are forced to make some tough decisions at the end of the maze. The art. I'm unfortunately very disappointed in this one. The art is very substandard. Facial expressions seem to be cartoony, like a copy of Don Bluth from the 80s, but without the actual remaining cleanup, and a bad copy of that. The colors are just okay. The lettering is done pretty well, but Corey Petit's a really good letterer. The writing, I'm sorry, but it's boring. The layout's very simple. The dialogue has some high points, but for the most part, the story is pretty predictable and forgettable. I was hoping for something tangible, and this was not it. To be fair, this apparently was a culmination of 4 different comics coming to an end, but if this was really the finale, it sorely missed the mark. I give it a 2.8 out of 5.
Oh,
Yeah, this was bad, burned over. It was bad. The reason why I wanted to read this one is because Murder World is one of those places that's been used a lot, and Arcade has been used a lot during the 70s/80s. And the X-Men have gone through it. The Spider-Man has been in it, and a couple of the Avengers have been inside Murder World as well. And it's always been a pretty cool little diversion storyline. So when I saw that it was available, I jumped at the chance to review it because I was hoping it was going to be like one of those stories. And this one was a real bad, it left a bad taste in my mouth. I was very disappointed.
oh man, that's too bad.
Yeah, it was bad. Bad.
Well, I read Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I'm not really a Ghost Rider fan. I was kind of lost in this one, but I'll do my best. This is done by Stephanie Phillips, art by Juan Cabo. I don't know. Frank Castle has been to hell and back once. He was the vigilante known as the Punisher until his death, and resurrected as a supernatural empowered spirit of vengeance. Since then, he has served as a herald to the Galactus, the right hand of Thanos, and the guardian of the galaxy. After leaving his mark across all of time and space, the universe has come to know Frank Castle as Cosmic Ghost Rider. So, Frank Castle as Punisher became, I guess, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I think he's Galactic Ghost Rider or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So like in this one, it's pretty much we have Ghost Rider doing his thing as Punisher, killing some guys, and he wakes up from it like kind of like a bad dream type thing. I don't know if like he's having memories of the past, or is this him as Ghost Rider and then waking up as Frank Castle? It's kind of confusing, but he wakes up in this like small apartment, and he's working for a family, like kind of like a bar type place with the owner and his daughter. The daughter is about the same age, maybe younger, because Frank looks pretty old in this comic. He has gray hair, gray mustache, and he's doing odd jobs just to get a place to sleep and stuff. So they don't really go into detail of where he came from, or he's just kind of like, working to live here. And classic, Punisher, somebody rolls into town. First, I got to talk about the art, because the guy comes in like in this motorcycle, and it looks like a bicycle. It looks really weird. I don't like how they drew the motorcycle or the guy on top of like the villain coming in. He looks like maybe Amish, but like outfit. And kind of is a cowboy type guy, because they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. And he's looking for Frank, and he goes into the bar where he's working. The bad guy kind of tells the bartender or the owner, like, hey, I'm looking for him. And they're kind of say, I don't know what you're talking about. And he knows they're bluffing and starts to beat him up a little bit, pulls a gun on him. Frank comes in and does his Punisher thing, really real good with the gun. But the villain is not messing around, shoots the father, and he wakes up again. I don't know if this is as Ghost Rider, so it's very confusing as what's really going on here. I don't understand. Like, was that a dream too, or what's going on? Because he wakes up in a whole different room, like more not like the hole in the wall that he was sleeping in, more of a like a penthouse type room, and his face turns into the Ghost Rider. So I don't really know what's going on here. And this is the first issue, by the way. So I don't.
Yeah, it shouldn't be difficult to read.
Kind of. They do have like a side story at the very, a 10-page short story, so that they can justify the extra $1 they put on the comic book. That one I'm not going to really go into, but the main storyline, it doesn't really explain anything, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. It's very weird. Probably won't read any more of this because I have so many other books I have to read. So I'm gonna have to go with you about a 2.5 on this one. And the art isn't that good. It's not great. It's kind of the way Ghost Rider looks, the way Castle, they look very stiff, long necks. It just wasn't going for me. So, too bad that it wasn't for me. But if it's for anybody else, that's cool. If you guys want to disagree with me, hit me up on Twitter or join our Discord and tell me you don't know what you're talking about, Adam. So, anyhow, that's my second one.
Wow. Okay, now for some good stuff. Batman One Bad Day, Clayface #1 by Detective Comics. The writer is Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzig. Pencils is Ser Manico. Colors is Romulo Fajardo Jr. Letters is Tom Napoli, which I'm assuming is Italian. The actors are Clayface amongst a myriad of different characters. The premise is that Basil Carlo is in Los Angeles. We see him leaving a tub in a small apartment. He turns into a human male by the name of Clay, and next we see him acting like a waiter at the Sunset Chateau restaurant. We get snippets of his day waiting on Hollywood directors, actors, and corporate higher-ups as he works on his inflection and his lines. We leave the Sunset Chateau as Clay and fellow waiter Corey go in for the same part for a movie or a TV show. Clay is the first to go up, and he uses the lines he was practicing for the part. He brings real tragedy to the read, but it's not exactly what they were looking for, and they pass on him. They said that they wanted a little more pep in it, and that kind of throws Basil. He's not understanding why. We do in a moment. I'll tell you why. And Corey is a comedian, and he had listened to what Clay had given him as advice and took it to heart. But he also is still a comedian, so he uses some pep in his story on how to do those lines. So we cut to the hillside overlooking the city, and Corey is listening to Clay trash the producers because he didn't do very well, because his version was very sad and somber. And Corey gets a phone call while Corey is basically complaining. Corey finds out that he got the part. It's unfortunate because Clay is there, who murders Corey and takes over his face and mannerisms to take over the role, his part in The Killing Joke. He is rushed on set, and it just goes crazy from there. Art. Lots of strong visual elements in this story. The anatomy is very well done. The word bubbles are well done by the letterer when conveying Clayface's speaking. The set design is well considered, and the visual elements are great. The art has some shading, but rarely any highlighting, which is a little odd, considering that you have the option to play in Los Angeles with bright lighting instead of Gotham, where the palette is usually a somber black and white and gray. The opportunity is lost to use a great deal of vibrancy and color, but it still has some great scenes. The writing is mostly dialogue driven. There's a lot of dialogue, and the change from scene to scene can be a little disjarring in certain areas, and it's actually baked into the story because he's writing a script. You can see the very beginning, and there's little passages that look like script options, but you have to actually go back and find them, because if you didn't look at them the first time and understand that, then it would make no sense. The story is well written, but it's very artistic in its development, which could be a problem with people who are used to seeing common narrative storytelling. This story pulls no punches. In regards of some mature elements, there's a lot of murder, but suffice to say, this is not a story to give to a young reader. Clayface does not hold anything back. When he murders somebody, it's like something out of a horror flick. But I gave it a 4.5, 4 out of 5 tortillas because the story was well written. Batman One Bad Day, these little stories that they're making for each of the villains, they're really well done. I'm just really, really impressed by them. Clayface was written well. The Penguin was written well. They're just great. So again, 4 out of 5.
They're supposed to do like a 12 series of this for like a whole year of these books. The Bane one was really good too, and they're already teasing at a box set for each of these stories. One big box set for these stories.
Wow. Well, you should get it.
I probably will. It's really good. I've heard listening to a lot of other podcasts talk about it. Everyone loved it, so I'll probably read it too as well.
Yeah, Clayface is a good one.
Spider-Man number 20. I did catch up with Spider-Man. I stopped at 11, and then I read from 11 to 20 this past weekend. So caught up with Spider-Man. This one is a guest writer, Joe Kelly, and the artist is Terry Dotson, and unfortunately, the art and the story in this one, this filler wasn't very good. In my opinion. I'll just give you a previously what happened here. Spider-Man and Black Cat were planning on hanging up their mask and enjoying a romantic getaway as Peter and Felicia. But even when things are going also right for Peter, he'll never be free from the classic Parker luck after running into his ex-girlfriend Mary Jane and her new man Paul at the spa Felicia booked. Peter was almost grateful for the explosion that sent Spidey and Black Cat into action. The Silicon Six is a group of tech bros were hunting Tombstone's right-hand menace, White Rabbit, and White Rabbit is pretty much DC's Harley Quinn. Only Spidery and Cat discover that Rabbits rent the tech to the Six for their new startup corporation retreat, and that their hunt was just a team building exercise. Things did get real, however, when the CEO was found murdered and the Silicon Five turned on the animal theme super folk. So this was kind of like, it was a mess. It was a mess. You got these weird looking Sinister Six guys. You got they're all kind of like playoffs of the original Sinister Six. You have Dr. Octopus, but he's like a young guy with no shirt on. You have a Green Goblin that's a girl, but the art is horrible. It's just they're fighting. Black Cat and him are fighting. They can't get their date going. You know, Black Cat really is digging Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Peter Parker is having feelings for her. That's pretty much what I want to focus on. This whole fight scenes were horrible, and I don't want to keep saying it, so I'm just going to go into what I did like about it. You know, she really likes him, and even like White Rabbit, like she even knows, like, you know, have you asked him out yet? You know, what's going on here? And the one part I know that a lot of people had a problem with this comic book was when he's finally talking to Black Cat at the very end of the fight after they beat the bad guys. He said something here where they're talking about Mary Jane, and he kind of says like, well, he said he always felt that Mary Jane. Okay, so Mary Jane has been a part of my life for a long time, more than a part, but she's more like a sister, a best friend. Yes, this is what I'm talking about, Hector. This is BS. How long have we seen it, ever since Spider-Man in the 1960s and 70s and 80s? Bro, that's total BS because in
the 60s and 70s he was dating Gwen Stacy, but I have a wall-sized poster that's 3 feet by 4 feet. That's of them two getting married in 1989.
Yeah. So I mean, why would he say that? I don't know. I don't know if he's trying to make Black Cat feel better. Maybe I don't buy it. I don't like it. We still don't know why they broke up in the very beginning of this run, like we talked about earlier in the show. The next arc we'll finally get answers. Why did Mary J marry this guy? She actually got married to this Paul guy, and this Paul guy has kids, but they're not hers. But what happened? And every time they touched on it, she would always say, I have responsibilities. So something happened that we haven't known for, he's been pulling us along for 20 issues. So I'm really hoping his run does better.
Yeah, CBR said that it's going to be number 21 that actually tells everybody what's up.
That's going to be great. So
the next issue.
I think it's going to be next week. I think it comes out. We do get a kiss from Black Cat with Parker, and they swing off together. And I like him branching out to Black Cat, then always being stuck with Mary Jane. But to say she's more of like a sister, I think that's I don't agree
low.
with that. That's low. Stupid. That's dumb.
Well, not only that, but Black Cat and him have dated before.
Right.
Yeah,
They have.
so
And then we have a comic book that's out right now that includes Black Cat and Mary Jane. They have their own comic book together, and I read the last one, I think, and Black Cat she's trying to tell her Mary Jane, like, hey, I have feelings for Peter. And the last issue, it ended with Mary Jane, like, finding, kind of like putting two and two things together. So this could probably be a relationship through more of these comic books, you know. So I don't really know what could have happened to have this big rift between Mary Jane and Peter. So very interesting. I'll keep reading, but I'm glad that Zed Wells is going back on it. But this writer, man, it was pretty bad. It kind of felt just inconsistent with the drawings. Like some panels were really good. Like he drew Spider-Man really well, and then he started drawing the bad guys. It kind of felt like I don't know, man. I'll send you some pictures later, but their faces kind of like scribbled, and the hands look weird. But then you scroll down, and then you'll see, you know, a good picture of White Rabbit, you know, and then
it's weird.
Let me try to see if I can copy this picture real quick to show it to you. So very inconsistent, I believe. Here, I'll send it to you real quick. All right, I sent it to you. So go ahead and check that out. Tell me what you think about that top panel right there in the chat.
What the hell?
That's what I'm talking about. What is going on here? And this is a big time book. This is Amazing Spider-Man. This isn't like a spin-off Spider-Man book. This is the flagship Spider-Man book out right now, and it looks horrible.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look as good as some of the others I'm used to.
Look at Green Goblin up there.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on?
Is that Green Goblin, or is it? Well, I thought it was Hobgoblin.
It's these nerds that became supervillains. It's a pretty bad comic book.
Oh, so it's not based on the original characters then?
No, these are Silicon Six. I don't know.
Silicon Six.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay.
Like tech guys. These guys are all tech guys or nerds. It just didn't work. This is gonna go a low to tortillas, maybe chips, not even tortillas. I don't know. I don't know. So I might be crazy, but the art's horrible, and that's too bad. I'm glad the original team's coming back for the big arc coming up soon. So maybe they gave them a break. I don't know. Anyways, I felt that I felt bad because of the comic books. I have plenty more to read, and the ones I did read before the show were just not up to par. So
yeah.
Hopefully I'll get some better ones when I read more throughout the week.
Yeah, I've got to do some more reading too, because I was looking forward to Batman One Bad Day, but and I hadn't looked at the others that I've got. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, this week's been.
Yeah. So, I was actually interested in the Cosmic Ghost Rider, but you read that one and you didn't like it, so
you might enjoy it. Maybe I just don't know how to read right. I don't know, or put things together.
But I also grabbed Rogue and Gambit #1 and The Mandalorian #8. So
I do want to read the Gambit and Rogue. I'm interested in that, but I think they stopped. I think they canceled the Gambit run that was a couple months back, because I haven't seen or maybe it was a 4-part comic. Maybe
Gambit seems like a hard character to write for.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not,
he has a very interesting storyline, but it can go kind of sideways if you don't have, because we don't know very much about his background. And I mean, outside of, no, wait, there was a Gambit series, wasn't there, a while back?
Yeah, there was a while back. I mean, Claremont wrote the X-Men, right? And he wrote Gambit pretty well, but that was way back in the 90s again. I hate have to go back to the 90s, but I don't know.
Maybe it's time for a reboot.
Everything seems they tried to reboot it, right? And it wasn't going well. So, and I think Claremont wrote that one too. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. What I got. I think we're going to end it there. We want to thank everyone for listening to the episodes, and we hope you share it with your friends. Please join our Discord. We were trying to grow. You could find me on Twitter at _mem9, and you can find my buddy Hector at
Sabathius. So I haven't been on Twitter a lot lately. I feel bad.
busy, man. Busy. Until next time, you guys keep on reading. We'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, you guys.